11 strikeouts for Hunter Green.
47 pitches of 100 miles per hour. No one has ever thrown that many in a single game.
It's a long journey to get to this point.
I knew that I was special at that time, but I didn't know that I was special enough to play ultimately Major League Baseball.
This has been a long time coming. Swing and a miss. Kid's got talent. Hunter Green has arrived.
The Dream Series is such a great event. All the people that are here, all the coaches, they're the best of the best. To just be around them and go out here and compete every single day on the field, it's a true blessing. Being an African-American player and being in a sport that's lacking African-American players, just go out there and just be the best version of yourself you can be.
Struck him out. Hunter Green, who's just been dominant.
I really think if the people that are here, the players that are here, can get that opportunity and that exposure, it's definitely going to change their lives, not just on the field as a baseball player, but as a person.
The Dream Series is back this weekend, and this from MLB's Twitter account. 6 years after participating himself, Hunter Green is headed back to the Dream Series to work with the next generation of stars. Really neat that he's paying back.
He's 17, Matt. Now he's 18.
Right. And we'll have live coverage from the Dream Series. In fact, Harold is headed to Tempe Diablo Stadium for a live show on Friday. It's Hot Stove Live from Tempe Diablo at the Dream Series. Chris Young and Harold will be hosting the show that morning. Among the scheduled guests, Justin Dunn, Howie Kendrick, Marvin Freeman, Marquise Grissom, Jerry Manuel. Play with it! It's happening this Friday morning from Tempe Diablo Stadium. So you've had a lot of experience with this event.
Yeah.
Right? It seems to get bigger every year. It moves from location to location. Tell us about what we can expect on Friday.
They do a fantastic job of isolating and finding the top players. So this is particularly for advancing African-American baseball players and giving them an opportunity. So this is the top 80 African-American players in the country. They bring them in, they get this upscale coaching from former major leaguers. So we're taking the show there Friday. Hunter Green will be joining us, as well as all the other guests you talked about, being Chris Young, and we'll throw back to you and JP for updated news. But for the most part, it's going to be talking about what's going on there in Phoenix, watching some of the kids work out, talk about stuff. It's really going to be great. And then Martin Luther King Day is coming up on the following Monday. So we're going to pick pieces out of that to do the MLK show. So it's going to be pretty cool.
So the kids, they work out. Obviously, they train with some of these former big leaguers. I know Marquise Grissom's been involved with this for a long time. And then do they scrimmage? Is it something that fans can watch too?
They will scrimmage. It's more of the workouts and technique, though.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's open to the public, but it's not really like we do with all-star games and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's more workouts like this, what you see in spring training. If you were going to spring training, this is what you would see, the workout type of stuff. And it's just on-hand instruction. But, Friday night, Hunter Green, Hunter's now living in Arizona, and he's given his time to this, obviously. But he's invited everybody to his house to feed them.
Oh, wow.
He's got a parting gift I can't talk about, but it's going to be great. This is him giving back and wanting to show kids what it was like, what he's been through.
Giving back immediately. He just went through this not too long ago, so it seems, and he's already on the other side of his instructor.
Really
again, join us on Friday morning for live coverage from the Dream Series. Harold and Chris Young hosting the show from Tempe Diablo Stadium out there in Tempe, Arizona. Let's switch gears. We've been talking about this story this morning with Trevor Story having elbow surgery. Pete Abraham, who covers the Red Sox and has for many years with the Boston Globe. And if you go to Pete's Twitter profile, you see this very unusual choice of photo.
He's got the Philly fanatic behind it.
But is that Tim Wakefield, Pete? What's with the pictures here?
That is Bruce Springsteen sitting in the Fenway Park dugout. Pretending to call the bullpen.
That's Springsteen?
Yeah, what are you saying,
yes,
Wakefield? I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Springsteen.
It's worlds colliding for me. Bruce Springsteen in Fenway Park. That's the greatest thing.
That's a fantastic
photo.
Now,
did you take that picture too yourself, or
no? One of the Red Sox guys took that. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Cool,
hey, thanks for some time. We've been looking forward to getting your perspective on this Trevor Story story for quite a while here. Harold and I were wondering at the top of the show about the timeline here and when the Red Sox learned of what Story was going through surgically, and if in fact it would have made their offseason to this point look any different.
Yeah, well, what Chaim Bloom told us yesterday was that he started ramping up his throwing around Christmas time, which is pretty common for a position player, I think, getting ready for spring training. And that's when he felt additional pain in his elbow, more so than what he felt last year. Chaim said that it was something new. It was not something that he came away with from last year. This was something new. But it's really not a surprise. If you watched him play second base last year, you could tell his throws didn't have the same velocity that they had in previous years when he was a shortstop with the Rockies. He played most of the year with his elbow wrapped. But the thought was that an offseason would take care of that. But when he started throwing again, it popped up again. So after consulting with a couple of doctors, they decided to have surgery. And right now, they don't know to what degree he'll be able to play next season. He's clearly going to miss the first half. But beyond that, it's going to depend on what happens with the rehab.
Yeah, no, it's a big blow. It's been a real interesting, is the word we've been using all morning, winter for the Red Sox. And I'm just curious. Let's go back to Xander Bogaerts not getting signed, and then moving forward. Obviously, we have Devers' press conference today, but back to the Xander Bogaerts. Why did that not get done? Was there not interest? Did they try to get there? He wouldn't go there. How did that not work out?
Well, to me, it goes back to last spring training when they had an opportunity to sign him to an extension. It was pretty evident that, if they didn't, that he was going to go to free agency, and they missed that opportunity. They offered to add him. They offered to add one more year to his contract at $30 million. Xander turned that down. He was frankly, upset about it, as upset as I've seen him about a baseball matter over his entire career. And once the season started, there were once in a while, there were some indications that he might be open to talking, but nothing really got accomplished during the season. And then when the season ended, they had a month or so that he was their exclusive property, but they weren't able to make a deal then. And then once he got into free agency, and in talking to Xander about this several times, he was, I think, surprised at how much interest there was in him signing him.
There are so many questions about the Red Sox roster right now, Pete. One of the questions that was answered was when the Sox re-upped with Rafi Devers on a 10-year extension that kicks in 2024. Press announcement coming up later on this morning. We'll cover it live. My question for you is this. Without Bogaerts and with Devers now being awarded this princely sum of money, it strikes me that the pressure on him to be the guy is huge. There's nobody for him to defer to now as another guy that can pull the load. He's not going to have Story around him in the lineup. They're putting a lot of pressure as well as a lot of riches in his pocket.
Yeah, no doubt. And you think about it, he came up with Xander Bogaerts as one of his mentors. J.D. Martinez, who's no longer with the Red Sox, was one of his guys. And now he's by himself. He's clearly the face of the franchise. One of the few players left, only 4 players left from the 2018 World Series championship. And he's the only position player left, incredibly enough, in that short period of time. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Rafi. But this is the guy, I think, one of the best hitters in baseball, has improved dramatically at third base in the last year. I think he can handle it from a physical standpoint. I think he's an excellent player. He's learning the team leadership part of it. I think Justin Turner being around will help him out with that. But this is definitely a time of transition for the Red Sox. A lot of guys that were the foundations of this team are no longer here. And players like Rafi Devers are going to be the ones who take them into the future.
So I'm curious, Peter, Alex Cora's take. He's always positive. He's always thinking, hey, we'll be okay. I can pull this out. But this lineup right here doesn't really compete with the championship lineups that are in that division. What's Alex's take, and how do you think he'll be handling this?
Yeah, we're going to talk to Alex today. He's in town for the Devers press conference. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. One thing I wrote about today for the Globe is when you look at the Red Sox up the middle, the only player they know right now who's part of their up the middle defense is Kike Hernandez. That's probably going to be in center field, potentially at shortstop. They don't know who the second baseman is. They don't know who the shortstop is. Their catcher is Reese McGuire, who's been a part-time player over the course of his career. Their backup is Connor Wong, who was a rookie last year. The Red Sox right now are very unsteady up the middle. And that's a dangerous thing, 5 weeks before spring training where you're not sure what the spine of your team is going to be.
You've been around a long time. Is this the most fragile you've seen the Red Sox in your tenure there?
Well, they've had some years where you knew it was going to be a struggle. After the 2011 season, a lot of guys left. They brought in Bobby Valentine as the manager. That didn't work out too well. They've had some last-place teams, but those teams usually had even had some hope going into the season. Things just went wrong during the season. This is the first time going into spring training there are this many questions. Now, there's some good players on this roster. The pitching staff could turn out to be pretty good. The rotation has got some question marks, but there's also some talent. The bullpen has a chance to be very deep. But when you look at the lineup, and you're used to a Red Sox lineup that really generates a lot of runs, you look at this lineup and wonder where the runs are going to come from.
Pete Abraham of the Boston Globe with some Red Sox perspective. Again, we'll have live coverage of the Rafi Devers press conference coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern. Pete, appreciate the visit today. Thanks.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
We're going to take a break. When we come back to the Carlos Correa Twins signing. And Lauren will visit with one man who was on this almost as though he had a crystal ball in his office. Steve Phillips joins Lauren for that and more.